Hi everybody, my name is Blair. I am Digital Maniac 3K on most social platforms. Today, we're going to do something really cool. Let's see how many of my old Macs actually work. In a previous video, I explained that some of these computers haven't been powered on in a number of years. A couple of them, I really don't even know whether they work or not. There's an interesting story about my Mac SE here. Years ago, I bought two Mac SEs from the Newton Conover Public Schools. It was a auction. I actually got those two, an old printer, a bunch of other stuff too. I think I gave like 20 bucks for it all. That was back when you could find stuff like that cheap. Now, of course, we are talking about 2003, I believe. Well, anyway, when I powered those two Macs up, one of them booted up just fine. Only problem was there was no video. The other one, it had video, but the internal hard drive did not boot up. So, I don't know which one this is, and there's a reason for that. I had the two units, they were identical, and they were set side by side. A number of years ago, my storage unit that held all my vintage computers was broken into, and a lot of them were stolen. What's funny, though, is the classic Macs, the compact Macs, they stayed. Now, during this time, these three units were in that storage unit when it was being raided. I had a Performa 475 in there. I had a whole stack of LC units from an original LC to a couple of LC3s, and I might have even had an LC2. I've decided that I want to try to see how many of these we can get working. Now, as you can see, I've actually got accessories for all of them. I have extra floppy drives for them. I don't have any 800K discs though, and I have no way to produce them. The only functioning classic Mac that I have right now is my Power Mac G4, which is running Mac OS 9. The best way for us to test this, honestly, let's just do a smoke test. Now, I expect some of these might actually start smoking. I haven't tried some of these units in a long time. This Mac Plus right here I've had for 20 years. I haven't turned it on in 10. This unit right here, which is actually a Mac 128K, it has been upgraded to a Mac Plus. I haven't had power on it in at least 5 years. And my 512K, I've never powered it up. As you see, I've got accessories for all of these. I've got keyboards, mice. I even have this hard drive that connects to the external floppy port. So it can actually be used on any one of these units. Now, the interesting thing about this 512K is I've never tested it. Don't know if it works. It could completely explode. I have no idea. I've owned this unit just about as long as the rest of these. This one I've had for 20 years. This one I've had since 2003, 2004, so about 15 years. This one I've had, I don't know, probably 10, 11 years. But in that time period, things went to the wayside, didn't have a desk to set them up on, didn't really get a chance to use them and enjoy them. Now, if I remember correctly, there's actually a ton of System 6 software on this hard drive. A good friend of mine, who I met through the Apple message board, he set me up with all of these. He actually gave me this computer, this hard drive, I believe both of these keyboards, and whatnot. This has been a hobby of mine for years. So I'm anxious to see exactly how much of a system I could build with all of this stuff. So I'd love to see if maybe tonight we can set up a fully functional compact Mac based off of the systems that I have here. So if this is the SE that has video, then it won't boot, but I might be able to get it to boot with this. If this is the SE that boots up and has no video, well, we're just kind of tough out of luck there. So I think I want to start with the SE, and let's actually see, is it the good one or the not so good one? Alright, so first I want to give you guys a quick tour of my Mac SE. Now this is a standard Macintosh SE, which does have a hard drive in it. I don't know the system specs on this. Again, the two units that I had, one boots up to a flashing disk icon. And the other one, it boots all the way up, but you can't use any of it. Now I do have an ADB keyboard and mouse on it. This is not the correct model for this particular unit, but I'm hoping at one point in the future to rectify that and get the correct model for it. So I've got everything plugged up. You can actually see here. Spin it around. It still even has the property of Newton Conover school systems sticker on the back of it. So it needs to be restored, retro-brighted. If this is the one that does not have video, then that's going to make an even better restoration video. So maybe I'll actually do like a classic Mac repair-a-thon or something like that. But I'll try to keep it to one video. You know who you are. So, without further ado, let's see if she smokes. We have audio. Hard drive LED. I don't think the other one had an LED, so I'm thinking this is the bad video one. Yep, she's sitting there pulsing. I can hear the stepper motor. Sounds like it's trying to cycle. I'm hoping that you guys can hear this. To fight the temptation, just give it a good whack on the side to see if I can get it to spin, but no video. So, yeah. This looks like it's going to be the bad video unit. And, of course, you know, turn the brightness all the way up, down. See absolutely nothing other than a little screen burn in there. Absolutely nothing. Now, this doesn't really, bother me. I've actually been wanting to do a ground-up restoration on these units. I have copies of the Dead Mac scrolls, all of them. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and turn that off. That hard drive is just... I believe that hard drive's had it. Now, I mean, this unit is, old, so these things don't last forever, unfortunately. But the cool thing is, this leads us to probably my first rebuild and teardown. Take apart the analog board, replace the capacitors and everything on it. I actually, if you see right there over my shoulder, I have a really good PCB holder, so I should be able to get really good video of doing the restoration on that. Let's try one of the other units to see. I think I'm going to go reverse chronological order. I think the next one we're going to try is going to be the Mac Plus. So this is classic Mac number 2, my Macintosh Plus. Now, this unit I've had for 20 years. A good friend of mine sent it to me. He sent it to me right after one that I had was stolen. That was part of my original Mac desk. I had my LC2, I had my Plus. I've always had a compact Mac with me. I love these things. So I am really, really, really hoping that this unit still works. Now you will notice that I still have a sticker on here that says "won't work for nothing." This was something that my mother bought for me years ago, and I'm probably going to leave it there, especially since she passed away last year. So I'm a little emotional when it comes to stuff like that. So, Macintosh Plus, stock configuration. It did have 4 megabytes of RAM in it. I'm assuming it still does, unless it walked away. But you can see it's got a little bit of marking here. This one is probably the most yellowed system that I have. Now, see how bad I am. Ah! Okay. I am actually in better shape than I thought of with this. Now, granted, there is some corrosion in there. I'm going to have to deal with this at some point, but I just knew that there was going to be a battery in there. My 128K and my 512K, I did find batteries in those, but I'm actually missing the battery doors for those, so I've got to obtain some at some point. So when I do the restoration of those, that'll happen then. Now, a couple of things I want to point out. This does have the Apple lock, and it is the Apple branded lock, which I thought was cool, which is one reason I kept it in here. I have a bunch of these little pegs from Kensington that usually I'd pop out of a system whenever I would refurbish it or go over it. Now, you'll notice that this has got a hole in here. You might ask, well, if you're going to restore this, are you going to, restore the back panel, or, just not bother restoring the back panel? And, because it's got this giant hole in it. Well, no, actually, I kind of like it there. And here's why. My friend Matt, who gave me this unit, had found this unit at the Penn State University surplus store. And it had this BNC connector on the back of it. And this has been a 20-year mystery to us. We still can't figure out what it was. It wasn't wired to anything. Why a Macintosh Plus had a BNC connector on the back of it? We have no idea. So if anybody at Penn State University would like to clue us in, I think he had 2 of these units. He wound up giving me this one. Anyway, let's take and plug it up, and let's try to hopefully not let any of the magic smoke out. I would be very sad, as, like I said, this is the computer that I have had the longest. Okay, we have power. Oh, we have sound. Do we have video? Ah. Well, these things happen. This unit was actually working last time I used it, but like I said, I haven't touched this thing to power in 10 years. So, alright, so it looks like the video's gone out in this one. This one's definitely a restoration unit. Actually, none of these I would consider a scrap unit. Just because I've had these as part of my collection for over a decade. I'm not getting rid of any of them. So, yeah, unfortunately, my little Plus no longer has functioning video, which is kind of sad. So, okay, I'm going to try it one more time. Yeah, I got the bell. Make sure that I don't have the brightness turned all the way down. I couldn't tell you how many times somebody bring one of these to me and it not function, or not function. That was all it was, something simple like that. Sometimes working the potentiometer back and forth will fix the problem. At least I had that with one system. I want to say it was a Plus. That if you turned it about halfway and left it just one little spot, there was a dirty spot in that pot, and the whole thing just kind of went fuzzy. But, yeah. Okay. Well, as with these compact Macs, there's a ton of capacitors that can go out on them. Alright, let's switch up to the next one. The next one is going to be the 512K. Alright, this is my Mac 512K. Now, there's really nothing spectacularly special about this unit. I honestly have no idea if it works. I've had this unit for 15 years or so, and when I got it, it was something that was given to me because they were about to throw it away. They thought the hard drive had died in it, and because, turn it on, it wouldn't boot up. Doesn't have a hard drive in it. Some people don't understand that. But that's fine. I actually thought the same thing when I got my very first Mac Plus. I also wondered why the color didn't work on it. It took me a while to figure out that those were black and white units. So, now this unit is in pretty good shape. There is actually a little bit of a mark right here. Try to, there's a mark right there. And if I remember correctly, that's where it fell off of a shelf. So, what I'd like to do with this unit, I'll go ahead and spin it around here, so you can see the back side of it. Now, of course, I've got a ton of corrosion I'm going to have to deal with there. I did find a battery in this unit. I do not have the battery door for it. I will have to find one of those. As you see back here, it is the 512K. It's not the 512KE that had the 800K floppy. It would have the 400K floppy. So I will probably wait until I get my Plus working again to be able to start writing disks for this. But I definitely want to try to get it working. Now, this unit, like I said, is all original. You can actually see here model M0001W 512K. Yep. So, half a megabyte of RAM. Can you believe in the day and age right now where we have gigabytes of RAM, half a megabyte of RAM? Let's see if it works. This is actually kind of exciting for me because, again, I've never powered this unit on. Ever. Okay. Ooh. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Yep. No. Whoa! Okay, we had a startup chime. That's... okay. But I'm not seeing or smelling anything funny over here. Wow. That did take me by surprise. So, let's try it one more time. But it did chime. I'm glad I got that on video, actually. It did chime. I pray that you guys heard that. So, yeah. Okay. Well, so far, my classic Mac collection is not looking that great. We've got one more left, which is my 128K that's been upgraded to a Mac Plus. And I'll show you more on that momentarily. A bit. I did actually start smelling something with this computer. So, just to make sure that we don't have anything major going wrong, mostly I want to make sure that this thing's not going to catch fire. I'm going to go ahead and take it apart right quick. Now, this is the correct tool to use. This thing is a very, very long T15. See if I can find out what's smoking in here. Now, this is actually the first time I've ever taken this unit apart. As noted by the fact that I just now noticed that this is cracked right down here. So, now I'm smelling something, but I can't really tell exactly what it is. I'm looking and I'm not seeing any fried components or anything like that. So, I'll take and tilt that back a little bit for you guys. Now, I know the first thing that some people are going to say, oh, yep, it does. I believe that is the paper capacitor or whatever it is. It was a component that another YouTuber, Adrian Black, had pointed out. Apparently, he had a Mac Plus that, all of a sudden just fried on him. And it was because of a component right in here on the analog board. And, of course, I'm sitting here looking, and while there's some corrosion on here, it doesn't really look like it seeped into it. This is actually looking really, really clean. So, hopefully we'll be able to just rebuild this analog board and we'll be back in business. The most important thing to me right now is that while I smell something is burning, I don't see anything smoking. And that's another thing. Honestly, I'm playing a little bit of, fast and loose with safety precautions here. I should have taken it apart, replaced all the capacitors in it, and then tried to power it up. But, like we had video, or, I caught it on camera, it did chime. So, this I'm looking forward to starting to work on. Especially since this is the most vintage, most authentic of my compact Macs. So, all right, I'm going to put the back on it, and then let's go to the 128K. Alright, so this is the last compact Mac that we're going to test tonight. Now, this one right here is a 128K. Now, you might ask yourself, well, how can you say it's a 128K? Spin it around the back. It says Macintosh Plus. And as you see, it has a Macintosh Plus logic board in it. Well, at some point, somebody must have upgraded this unit. Because if you look up front, which is where you can tell the model number on these, it actually has the 128K model number right there. Now, for reference, with my Macintosh Plus that is a completely authentic Mac Plus, that's not there. In fact, it's got the sticker down here on the base of it itself. And this one, you can actually see there's a little shiny spot right there where that sticker was. So most likely this could have been a factory type upgrade. I know that there were a lot of Mac shops that would do upgrades like that. So it seems like I even remember seeing some part listings for the Mac Plus shell and logic board for these units. So, you know, that's why even though this particular unit, the back cover is not in the greatest shape in the world, I'm going to hang on to it just because of that. The fact is, I think that this might actually be one of those factory type upgrades. So, this one right here, again, did have a battery in it. Did not get a chance to get it out in time. So they're going to deal with corrosion, just like with my others, and I'm sure just like with my SE. So, what I want to do with this one, oh, another reason I want to replace the back panel is it has an impact damage on the top. But again, because I think that this was one of those, you know, factory style upgrades, it's got a little bit of value to me. I might actually put little LEDs inside there so it shines out. This, I believe, should have the names and everything embossed on the back of it. I believe that was the thing with the all the way up into the Mac Pluses as well. Let's spin it around here, plug it up, and we'll see if this one has video. So far, I'm not doing very well tonight. All right, turn the power strip on, turn the unit on. Bing! Been one of our most reliable Macs. Watch it burst into flames right now. Ha ha! We have video! We have video. Yep. Pattern just changed, which that's something that some people might not know. If you look at one of these units, there's a definite pattern in the grayscale, and as soon as it passes memory check, that pattern shifts pixels just slightly. So, as you can see, we've got the blinking disk icon. You might be thinking, well, you just said earlier you have no 800K disks. How are you going to try to boot this thing up and get it to working? Well, that's where my external hard drive comes in. That's the next thing we're going to test because I have no idea if that still works. This unit, as a unit, as a complete set, hasn't been powered up in 5 years. So now we're going to test my hard drive, my external hard drive. I believe this is a 20 megabyte hard drive. I remember I had a bunch of these once. I actually had the ones that said SC20 on the front of them, which had the SCSI terminators. You could chain them together. That was what my original Mac Plus had, was an Apple SC20. But I had a bunch of these that just had the connections so that you could run a hard drive or a floppy drive through it. And this particular unit right here, like I said, it's all original. Again, I had about 6 of these units and I threw them away. I just didn't think that they were really worth anything, and at the time they probably weren't. But I'll give myself a pass on a few of them because they did have damaged drives, but there was really no excuse for it. I really wish I'd held on to them. But not going to cry over, old hardware. Well, I will later, but not on camera. Anyway, so let's take and power this thing on and see if it works. And what's really cool about this is if it does, I believe that I've got a ton of System 6 software ready to go on this unit. Ooh, fan. Okay. Well, the fan has come on, which is good. That means that it's actually getting some power. But this particular unit may not try to flicker the LED or anything like that until it's actually trying to do a read function. So this has me a little optimistic. Kind of makes me want to go ahead and put this whole system back together the way I used to run it. So give me one moment. We'll be right back. Okay, so this is really exciting for me. We're going to try to see if we can power up my original, 128K that's been upgraded to a Plus, that has the hard drive. We've got an extra 800K floppy. Let's go ahead and see if it powers up, and let's see what software is on here. It's a little bit of digital archaeology for me because I really can't remember what I had on there. I already have the hard drive powered up. So, we've got the startup chime from the Plus. Now, I'm using my 128K style keyboard for this demonstration, but I'm going to plug up my other keyboard to show you guys how it functions, and I think it's a lot easier to type on, but, for authenticity's sake, I really wanted to keep this. And you'll notice I always look in this corner here just to make sure that that pattern shifts. There we go. Ooh, we might have some life in that disc yet. Ah! Okay. So, we got the SAD Mac on it. When I power cycled this hard drive, I actually heard the drive spin up the second time. So, I went ahead and shut all power down. So let's try to start both of them back up again. And I hear the hard drive spin up again. Alright, so this pattern shifted, so it passed its memory test. So let's see if it'll boot up now. Doesn't appear so. Well, can't win them all. But at least this particular unit did power up and it has video. So we're ahead of the game with this one unit. This one I feel doesn't need a whole lot of work, but like I said, I do want to restore this back to a 128K. I also want to make sure that I get a rear case that is in really good condition. You'll notice my front case is not in that great of shape. It had one of those floppy disk locks in it, and in the course of trying to remove that, it has a big chip out of the front. Now, this, to most people, most collectors, they're going to say, okay, I don't want it, it's garbage. To me, personally, it gives it a little bit of character. I know the story behind why it's there. It's not just a broken computer to me. So, all right, well, I believe that is going to do it for this little session. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Like it, share it, ridicule it, whatever you want to do. Maybe I was doing something blatantly wrong, but as a supervisor of mine always told me, there's multiple ways to do things. There's your way, there's my way, and then there's the wrong way. Feel free, comment below. I don't guarantee I'll be able to read everything, but I will do my best. If you want to support me via Patreon, let me know, because I'm in the middle of setting that up. So I'll post a link to the video description later. So you might want to check the video description to see if there's an update with Patreon link. I might even put it at the end of the video. If you've got any old Macs that you just want to get rid of, I'll take donations. I really don't have a lot of money to spend on purchasing anything right now, but I'll gladly give some old Macs a new life and a new home. So feel free to email me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to bring you guys more content.